But you're clearly not happy with all his recommendations, and particularly the idea of it being underpinned by statutory law. What is it about that that so offends somebody like you?
I think we have to be very careful, as politicians of all parties have said today, before we go down the course of involving statutory controls in some way in the press. The press is there to hold politicians to account. You can't do that if the politicians themselves, through some form of statutory regulation, are responsible in turn for controlling you. So that's why I think we have to be very careful before proceeding down that course. But the main point is we don't need statutory intervention to be able to deliver this system. We're going to put in place a wholly new system of regulation based on binding, durable contracts that will give a regulator real powers without the need for the involvement of the state.
But doesn't this effectively mean now that you are, and along with the Prime Minister, out on a limb, because the popular call here has been for there to be some kind of statutory law here?
A number of opinion polls have been taken which show that the public is opposed to the imposition of yet more law on the newspaper industry. 70% in a recent poll said it was important that the state didn't become involved in the regulation of newspapers. But we've listened during the course of the inquiry to all the issues that have been raised. We've listened to the victims, we've listened to public opinion, and that's why we've reached the conclusion we need a wholly new, completely different system of much more independent, much tougher regulation, a system that will have powers to fine, powers to investigate newspapers where things have gone wrong, that will really be incredibly effective in raising standards. I think that's what the public wants, and that's what we can deliver.
But hasn't, for example, the Press Complaints Commission already had many chances to try to sort this out, and the press themselves, it hasn't worked so far. So basically, this is the last chance. This is the only way it's going to work.
Well, I agree with the conclusion of Lord Justice Leveson that the Press Complaints Commission failed. It failed to deal properly with the issue of phone hacking, and that showed up some real problems in terms of its lack of any form of legal power. But that's why we've learned from those lessons, and in the new system of regulation that we want to put in place, we will have much more independence, much tougher sanctions, but above all we'll be rooting it for the first time ever in the history of the press in real in law, which will give the regulator the teeth that it needs to be able to deal with the problems of the past. So we've listened and learned.